Hello and welcome to The Telescope. Every week we bring you a fresh insight from the biggest car market in the world. Today we're on a static preview event of the ONVO L60. We can only show you the exterior footage today, but in a separate room we've been allowed into the interior. I have touched the interior materials, albeit it's not the final spec, to give you a preview. I cannot overemphasize the importance of this car to NIO. At the front, it has more complex shapes than you might think for a $29,000 car. That price is only my guesstimate. It's not the most impressive front end in the world, but it's not ugly. The rear of the car is more successful. It has a semi-muscular shoulder. The tail light is simple and calls back to the flick up of the headlight. Overall, considering its massive interior room, which I'll get to in a moment, it's a B+ design. Generally, you can always make a car more beautiful if you sacrifice space, but that's just not an option for this car. I have sat in the car, but no footage was allowed, so you're going to have to just take my words for it. It has a 17.3-inch horizontal screen, a feature which a lot of people have asked about NIO products for a long time, and it's slightly bigger than a Model Y screen. It does not have an instrument display, but it does have heads-up display. Again, something Model Y doesn't have. If you look close enough, you can spot the inevitable drop in material choices compared to the much more expensive NIO main brand, but it's still much better than the very basic Tesla interior. It has a much bigger rear cabin. Both legroom and headroom are very generous. It has to be said that the Model Y's rear cabin is not exactly small, but it doesn't have the powered adjustable seatback. The ONVO L60 doesn't have a frunk. Yeah, that's a disappointment. It kind of matches the Model Y in rear underfloor storage. The space underneath the floor is just enough for a 20-inch carry-on suitcase. The only thing I'm not so sure on the exterior design is the same thing I've mentioned in the first look video, is this bonnet shutline. This frontal image is less successful than the rear design, but this shutline, in my opinion, overcomplicates the front facial language in a very unhelpful way. I've mentioned this to the designer and also to other fellow journalists at this test. It seems to be I'm the only one who's really bothered with this. Leave your comments down below. Am I making something out of nothing? Does this bother you as well? I think it's one of those things that once you notice it, you cannot unsee. There are many things you can criticize about Tesla's products. It doesn't have the best manufacturing quality, the panel gaps, it's not the most comfortable, it doesn't have the most sophisticated interior, it's also not the quietest. But Tesla has always been the king of the hill when it comes to efficiency. That is until this one. The ONVO L60 roughly is the same size as the Tesla Model Y, and it's on the same capacity battery, 60 kilowatt-hour LFP battery, and this under the CLTC cycle is rated at 12.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer. The Tesla Model Y China spec single motor rear wheel drive standard range model also has the 60 kilowatt hour battery, is rated at 12.3. Now that could be a very small thing or a breakthrough moment if you think Tesla is always unbeatable on energy efficiency. This is on the 800-volt platform. It's single motor rear-wheel drive. It's got slightly better aero efficiency than the Tesla Model Y. So yes, after so many years, finally, we have a car that beats the Model Y on efficiency. However, I need to emphasize this is under the Chinese CLTC cycle. Tesla Model Y, being an American brand, is primarily optimized for the American EPA cycle. It could be that this car is only more efficient than the Model Y under the CLTC cycle, which is a more low-speed biased test cycle. Tesla Model Y could still have an edge on this car in terms of efficiency under the more high-speed biased American EPA cycle. That we have to find out maybe October, November time when this ONVO L60 is in its full production form to find out. We're filming this on May the 12th. Which is 3 days before the press conference. At this moment, we don't know about the pricing, but we're guessing this car to be around $29,000 starting price with the base 60 kilowatt hour battery. So this car undercuts the Model Y in China by about 10%. It's cheaper, it's got a better interior, more space, slightly more efficient, but so does the Xpeng G6. This is not the first Tesla Model Y challenger in China. Then what does this ONVO L60 has over the G6? It's got a better design. The G6 has an inferior design, which I can't get used to, which is why I named the review of the Xpeng G6, you need to get used to the design. This is not the best looking car in the world, but it's definitely not ugly. So it's got a slightly better design, and the crucial point, it can battery swap. I cannot overemphasize how big of an advantage this is. If you don't understand what battery swap is and what benefits it has, check out my other videos. I've done 2,000 kilometer drives in the holiday season, in the rush hour, using only battery swap. If you understand battery swap and all the benefits that come with it, then this is the cheapest car you can buy that's capable of battery swap. If this cannot dethrone Model Y's domination on electric vehicles in China because it's cheaper, has more space, more efficient, more sophisticated interior, and battery swap, if this cannot beat Model Y in China, I don't know what will. Maybe Neil needs to design a self-landing rocket. Maybe that's the only solution. But as a car, this ONVO L60 has done everything it can possibly do. That is all from the Telescope today. If you enjoyed this video, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.